Okay, Krishna, it's ready. Yeah.
Okay, I can go ahead.
Yeah, it's ready. You can start.
All right.
Yes, yes.
So good morning to everyone and welcome to today's first session. So in this session, we have 3 presentations, 1 plenary talk and 2 other talks. The first talk is for total 40 minutes. It will be 30 minutes of talk and then 10 minutes of discussion. And the other 2 talks will be half an hour in total, meaning 20 minutes of talk and then 10 minutes of discussion. So we want to stick to the time. So without delay, let me introduce today's plenary speaker. So we have Madam Caroline Marak. She is an ex-professor, retired professor from NEHU, and she is currently the president of Achik Literature Society. So I invite Madam Caroline to give her presentation.
Ma'am, can you please unmute yourself? Yes.
Okay. Can you hear me now?
Yes, yes.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, yes, yes.
So this paper is on, I think there's too much noise here, so I'll just have to shift my laptop. So I started this paper on productive prefixes in Garo. I'm so sorry, I just have to shift my laptop. Excuse me, another class is going on here in this room, so I have to shift my laptop to another room. Can you all hear me now? Can you hear me?
Yes, yes, yes.
Yes, ma'am, we can hear you.
All right, I'll carry on now.
Okay.
My paper is on unproductive prefixes in Garo. It would have been much easier to write unproductive prefixes in Garo, but I really wanted to write on unproductive prefixes because it's less known, and we ourselves, we the speakers, are not aware that we are using unproductive prefixes or prefixes as such. We are not. We are aware of only a few of prefixes, and the rest we do not know, especially the one which are unproductive. And I have started my paper with the classification of Garo, and then how it is classed with in the Bodo-Garo group of languages. It's called Bodo-Garo right from the very beginning of that from the time when the British started cataloging our land, our people, and our languages. So G.A. Grierson and linguists like Robinson and Schaffer, Benedict Matisoff, and Berling, they all have agreed on and putting Garo with the Bodo. Of course, they are very close. I know that. And then in the group belongs Rava, Mej, Tiwa, Dimasa, Kokorok, and Diori in some other lesser known languages. Then S.K. Chatterjee, I refer to him also, and then I consulted the Sino-Tibetan. I actually could not consult this none of the books because I'm stuck here in Bangalore, and I have not been able to go back to my home for many months. And so this paper which I have written, I could not give any reference to any books, because all my books are there at home, and not a single book is here with me here at Bangalore. But I remember this book because I've written referred to it in my. It is in my laptop. One of the papers which I've written, Graham Thurgood and Lapola and Robin Burling, Tibeto-Burman languages, on the basis of comparative studies of some Tibeto-Burman languages of the Northeast, especially Garo, because he knows Garo very well. And then some languages in Upper Assam and Nagaland. He compared them, and he made a comparative study of them and put them on the SAL group of languages. SAL group of languages. SAL means the sun, and Rangsan, or Rangsan in, I think, in the, and Rangsal in Garo, and SAL for short. And we have actually we are using the prefix Rangsal, Rang. And I think Rang is not the prefix, but I think it's a morpheme by itself, because there's a difference between prefixes, affixes, and the morphemes. And then I've listed the number of I've listed the phonemes, vowel phonemes, and then consonant phonemes. But these I have just asked. Dokhachi and Angela to share with me. So I've just copy paste them. And then, so one thing I must make it very clear at the beginning is that the phonemes pa, ta, ka, which are voiceless plosives, they are most often aspirated in syllable initial positions. Then one thing again I forgot to enter is the use of it, because ours is a phonemic spelling, and in the phonemic spelling, to show the glottal stop, we use the dot. The dot, raise the dot. So whenever you come across in my in the list of words which I have written here for examination, now all of these, if you come across this dot in the center, it means it is a glottal stop. It represents glottal stop. So I will read my introduction. This is an exploratory study. It does not claim to be final or to be correct in every detail. This might be regarded as an initial step in the field, which might encourage interested scholars to take up this topic for further study. But of course, I meant that to show everybody, or to show, to make everyone understand about the nature of our language, how our language works in a very complex manner. In writing this paper, I have tried to bring up unproductive prefixes in Garo that we have inherited from the distant past because of its ancientness, lay buried for hundreds of years in the words that we use. It seems to me, without us, the speakers, being aware of them. The long forgotten prefixes are perhaps no longer recognizable. Many of them have become inseparable parts of words, and we think of them as, we cannot separate them if we think of the whole word as one single morpheme, which in fact some of them are not. They have become the prefixes have become indistinguishable from the roots or words as prefixes. We will not be able to identify them. The speakers have forgotten how to use them at present to form new words. So exactly for this reason, they are classed as unproductive prefixes. I have not picked productive prefixes and suffixes to write on this paper. There are numerous affixes in the language which the speakers are able to make use of in new ways, and in always new ways, whatever. And taking up the subject is venturing into uncharted waters. But years ago, I had studied Dr. P.C. Bhattacharya's descriptive analysis of Bodo. I do not know the title. I do not remember the title of the book, but it is a descriptive analysis of Bodo. It's a very thorough work, extremely thorough work, and a very remarkable work by any standards. And so I pay tribute to Dr. P.C. Bhattacharya. His work is extremely good. And when I went through his book, I was struck by the number of affixes found in a language that is close to Garo, that the language is Bodo is spatially and linguistically close to Garo. I recognize some of the affixes that doubtless had their corresponding affixes in Garo. And for both the languages, the same or similar morphological rules apply. In writing this paper, I have examined certain sets of words and tried to identify the prefixes and their properties and functions. Unproductive prefixes. So what I've just gone to the theory. Affixes are morphemes that are attached to word stems or roots to form new words or word forms. They may be derivational, like NES, like NESS, or PRE, or inflectional, like S to indicate plurality, or ED to indicate the past tense. They are attached to the base in which process a new word is formed, a derivative. Unproductive prefixes. So I got a few things on information on unproductive prefixes. They are those that have not been used to form and produce new words for a long period of time, say a century, such as in English, AB, as in abdicate, add, we are very familiar with that, ante, then com, dis, such as disdain, forgo, gainsay, okay, so many others. Any affix using a process is called, this process is called a productive, a process is called productive if it can be used synchronically in production of a new form, and non-productive if it cannot be. Productivity is the readiness of an element to enter into new combinations. Productivity of an affix lies in its having the property or capacity of being utilized to coin new complex words. Not all affixes have this property to the same degree. Some affixes might not have it at all. Now, one example to this I've come across, for instance, the nominal suffix th, for instance, in length or width, can be attached to a limited number of specific words only and not beyond that. So it can be considered unproductive. Semantics of affixes. This also I picked up from a thesis by I have written. I cannot pronounce the name at all because I think it's Russian, and some of the words which I could not enter here are written in, I think it is Cyrillic, and I think it's the Russian language. Affixes are a type of morpheme generally defined as the smallest indivisible component of a word. An affix possesses its own meaning. Affixes have widely generalized meanings and refer to the concept conveyed or carried by the whole word to a certain category, which is vast and all-embracing. So I come to the core of my paper, affixes in Garo. Many classes of affixes occur in Garo. Tibeto-Burman languages being agglutinative, affixes may play an important role in word formation. So I have these subgroups of affixes. Affixes can be classified into the following subgroups are there. Tense affixes, negative suffixes, affixes, negative affixes, suffixes indicative of moods and case markers, classifier affixes, and most of the classifier affixes I think are all prefixes. Affixes that function as verbs, which has been called Napsakapa adverb by E.G. Phillips, who wrote the Ajak grammar. This Ajak grammar is a very remarkable work. It's a small book, but it's very remarkable, and which is being used since the time it has been written till today as a base for Ajak grammar, for the study and for reference work, for everything. Now, Ajak grammar is the basis for all grammatical analysis of language even today, and an indispensable reference book for the study of Garo grammar. The last one means this one, and Napsikupai adverb is by far the most numerous class of prefixes in Garo grammar. But my unproductive prefixes is not this kind, Napsikupai adverb. It's not Napsikupai adverb at all. The present paper is concerned with the unproductive prefixes, many of which are we are no longer aware as prefixes and no longer use them to create new words or derivatives. Then point number 1. David A. Peterson's paper set me searching for any word that might qualify as bearing a causative prefix. The following 2 words bear a similarity with the words that he listed. When I examine their use in the language and the semantic content, I'm inclined to see the possibility of the initial consonants ma and pa being causative prefixes. I have no doubts about this word at all. Where is the causative affix? Nowadays, we use only at and et. We do not know about ma and pa at all. So at and et, at in awe and et in abeng and other, I think. And sometimes it can, the vowels might vary from at, and it. It could be it also. So nowadays we are aware of this causative affix only. But I can detect a few of the above mentioned. So the number 1 is ma as causative prefix, and I'm sure it is here. So with ma comes tongue. Tongue means to live and to be alive. So the word becomes, when in our group of languages, Bodo group of languages, a vowel comes after this consonant. So it becomes matang, but in speech it becomes matang. So we don't say matang, but we say matang. So the meaning of matang is X feeds Y, so that Y might live. In the above, ma voiced bilabial nasal is followed by the central short unrounded lax vowel between half closed and closed positions. The vowel is followed by unexploded voiceless denti alveolar plosive. Tongue means to live, to be alive, as opposed to die, dead. Matanga is transitive verb, means to feed somebody food, to keep him or her alive, or to nurture somebody. Now, this word is used in bringing up babies who have lost their mothers. You say somebody, we say matanga, somebody, okay? Usually we associate matanga with bringing up or feeding or nurturing babies who have lost their mothers. But matanga can also be applied to older people as well. I'm just going to tell, I'll take a few minutes in telling a story. There's an acquaintance of mine. I met him when he had only recently lost his daughter who was only about between 8 and 10 years old. Now this daughter, before she died, a few months only before she died, she told her father, "Papa, ang anak ko matanggen," meaning, "Papa, I will mitang, I will feed you, I will take care of you, I will even in his old age," something like that. But a few months later, she died. So the father is left remembering the word matanga, that she promised to matang him. The morpheme tang occurs in many words. To return to my paper, the morpheme tang occurs in many words such as tanga, jangi tanga. Jangi tanga means to live. Tanggen, will live. Tangpel, to revive. Tangcha, to resurrect. Then getang. Getang is raw, unripe. Getang, Tangsek. Tangsek means green. Tangsam means blue. Sam refers to dark colors. Now this morpheme tongue is different from tongue self as in a tongue. Matang is less frequently used. More frequently used is aldu. It's synonym. Aldu is also giving food. Al means food and do means to manually feed the young. Now let us go to pa. Nuk means to see. Now from here is derived this word, pandaka, pa. We can see the presence of pa here, and it is followed by the same central short unrounded lex vowel between half close and close positions. So we have pa, pandaka, but in speech it is pandaka. Pandaka means to show something so that y by x shows something to y so that y sees it. Nuk means nuk is a transitive verb. It means to see. Panduk means to show something to somebody so that the latter sees, observes as proof or certainty. This word panduk occurs in the compound word pandaka, means to show outwardly that one is good. Let us go to the next pair of prefixes. B and P, P and B pair of prefixes. In the former, it's a voiceless bilabial plosive. The second is voiced bilabial plosive. They are found in the words. Now this is very uncommon because I found it only in there could be if we try to find it, there could be, but I found it for myself only in 2 words. Biok means to subtract. Biok means to subtract, to take out. Then ok means to take out, and piok means to redeem. The verb ok means the same thing as above. Now I go to the G initial consonant in numerals. Now the whole point in bringing this one, it could be very controversial. It could be like you could probably there's no point there. There's no point in bringing this out. But I'm just wondering whether this g consonant in Gni and Gatam, only in these 2. Gni and Gatam, you can see that these precede ni and tam. So I'm just wondering whether g and g here and both of these, the g sound, the voiced velar plosive is an unproductive prefix in the Garo system. This is what I'm wondering. It might not be, it could be pure speculation, but I'm just wondering whether it is this velar plosive in 2 and 3, Gni and Gatam in Garo is a unproductive prefix. In Bodo, the 2 numbers, the initial consonants is voiced velar nasal na and voiceless alveolar plosive ta, aspirative respectively. Both the numbers in Garo have g voiced velar plosive as the initial. And then another one in school. If we look at the number 9, the name for 9 in Garo, it is school. And we will find in Dimasa, Masku, school. This also sets me thinking whether it is in Gu in Bodo. It is Gu in Bodo. So I'm just wondering whether this voiceless so I'm just wondering whether sa is also alveolar fricative, voiceless alveolar fricative as the initial consonant in school, whether it is also an unproductive prefix. And so I really I did not get the data from Bodo-Garo. I could not. The person I contacted could not give it to me, or maybe he was too busy. He could not send it to me. But I could not, and I could not get it. And in Rabha, I could not contact anyone who knew the numbers in there. And all those people who are like whom I met in to write self, they could not give me numbers in Rabha. Then I pass on to another point, that is the presence of the voiceless alveolar fricative s in SCO, head. We have a number of words with ko indicating head, with ka at the initial syllable. Kosak, above the head, consisting of, so we have so many words with ko. Kosak means above the head, sak means above, sak means above, sakao means above. Then kodarong, and kodarong means bald-headed. Kochirong means carry. It means, or it also means a head without hair. Then kobok means white-headed, head with gray hair, where bok means white. Korobok means objects which take on a general character of whiteness, like trees covered with white flowers. Then I get a quotation from a very old text. Very old text means this is from traditional oral literature. Ko awat nabe, gateng dengeko, ko maksuat nabe, tani dengjeko. In this, it can be translated as, do not wash the head of gateng dengje, do not wash the face of my princess dengje. So in both of these, we find ko onde, ko onde with and we do not have, except in SCO. In all other combinations, we never have S. So I'm left wondering whether S in SCO also is an unproductive prefix. If we take ko, voiceless velar plosive, with a voiceless velar plosive as the initial consonant in ko, it bears close similarity with the word go, voiced velar plosive, that had been written as a Tibetan for head by A. Playfair in his monograph, The Garos, that was published in 1909. If this is so, then S, voiceless alveolar fricative, is it an unproductive prefix? This is my question. I have not found any mention of a voiceless alveolar fricative as prefix in the Sino-Tibetan languages by Turgut and Napola, though many affixes in Tibeto-Burman languages have been identified by them, and they mentioned the use of the suffix gapa in Garo. This one I clearly remember, even though I do not have the book with me here at Bangalore. Now, ga prefix. The ga prefix in many Garo, I detected in many Garo words. We find it in gru, another word carrying the same meaning as ru. Ru and gru, these are a pair of words, word pairs. Gru is transitive and also intransitive, and ru is transitive. Transitive, it means take down or undo. When you say somnok gruaha, the translation is the kingdom fell into ruins. It is, grua is intransitive. Gru is stable, but when we say gru is stable, the same verb is transitive. Undo it and take off the stitches and sew again. And grue is undo again, non-finite verb. Nok rugendal means today the house will be pulled down. I go to the next verb, cho. Cho means to row. It is transitive. Rengchua. Rengchua means to row a boat. Then we have the word pair, cho and gachoa. Gacho. Gachoa, cho, ge cho. In speech, it becomes ge cho. It is intransitive, it means to drift. The central unrounded lax vowel between half closed and closed positions follow g, voiced velar plosive. It is followed by unexploded denti-alveolar plosive. It becomes g and t. This happens with other derivations where it precedes cha, voiceless palato alveolar affricate. Now this one will not be there in the paper shared by Munalin Longmalai. This one I entered it only last night. Gerdal. This also is speculative because I think this word Gerdal is dal. I think here the phoneme is the morpheme is dal. And this morpheme we find in words such as adal. This is new June form for the current year. Of course, with the loss of consonant, initial consonant, ha. Everywhere it is ha. In Garo also in many dialects or many varieties it's ha. And in many Bodo-Garo group of languages it's ha. So it's ha dal, ha dal, ha dal, or it's dal. Now, Hadal means a new June farm. Ha is earth, and Dal, I'm sure it indicates a new one because it means fresh, a new one. A new June farm for the current year, and so we have other words for the old June farms. The morpheme dal also occurs in achi dal dal, means newborn, newly born. Achi means to be born, dal dal is new. It occurs there as suffix and as an independent word in dal dal, fresh, and with reduplication such as in an incident that has just occurred. Then we have Gatal is new and Gacham is old. Now Gacham in Garo is to be old, to be worn out. Cham in Garo Cham is to be old or to be worn out, and Gacham means an old object. Cham is a verb and Gacham is noun. And Gacham is noun, and as we have seen earlier, so G is followed by the unrounded lax vowel central vowel and also by t alveolar, denti-alveolar plosive. Then G in colors. These words chak, bok, and sum. These words cannot stand alone. Chak, bok, stum cannot stand alone, and they are found with g prefix and gachak, gapok, and gisam. Gachak, gapok, and gisam. Chak means red. Sakai means red in Rabha. Gurja in Boro. And symbol chak in Garo means chak here. The phoneme morpheme chak occurs here. Symbol chak means symbol also means red, and ant in Garo. Chak means tiny red poisonous ants in Garo. Then gepok. It is not said as gepok. It is said in speech. It becomes gepok, but the combination is g and bok. The voiceless bilabial plosive replaces the voiced bilabial plosive. The sound b in bok quite is not heard in or it is inaudible after the voiceless bilabial plosive. So in spelling, we do not say GIP be okay, but it's gepok, GIP okay. Then gi. In gism, g, the initial consonant is followed by a higher front vowel, unrounded vowel. preceding the alveolar fricative. Sa, alveolar fricative sa. So it is gisam in Garo and gosam in Boro.
Sorry to interrupt, madam. You have less than 5 minutes to wrap up the presentation.
Okay, all right, thank you. So the gran I go to, after that I'll go to a prefix. So therefore, amen, cat is onomatopoeic, achak, and amak, mak refers to the black color. Chak means red again. Then I go to another significant word is agong. Gong, called rang in Garo and some other languages of the Bodo group. The word has been traced to 17th century Malaya century Malay to Java. The author comes across the word agong used as a synonym for rang in a passage in the epic poetry of the Kibandi. So it is also of very old nature. The greatly valued gongs are called rang in Garo, which were used as a medium exchange in the past. In Mech, the word rang also means money. Then red prefix, I think I'll just skip this one. And B prefix, a very important one. Now here, biap means place, a plot. If we analyze a number of words, we might determine the meaning of up, cholgri, upgri. Then uppal, upchon means it all refers to space. And nok up means the place where a house is built. From these words, it can be inferred that up denotes space and place, space. So this is one of the byproducts. Bima, then bipa, male, female, bipa, bimang means referring to the body, and bisemsem, small particles, and it is used as nominalizing prefix as in bibret. Bret means to crack. It is intransitive, but bibret is noun. It means a crack in a wall or in a post. Bikok, bimang. Bimang is a very important word because we always keep using this word. Ming means to, meng is verb, it means to name. Bimang is noun. So here it works as nominalizing prefix. Bichut, bikrok, all of them serves the same thing. Birimut, bigapok, birimut, bigapok. Okay, birimut, bigapok means egg yolk, and birimut means egg, white of egg. Birimut is egg yolk. Then biski, bipong, bijrang, birang. Birang is, then again, this is another important thing what I want to stress here. Rang means sound, such as in footsteps of the sea. And that this word rang is different, morpheme rang is different from rang, gong. Then bigel, girl occurs as verb in many Garo words, but bigel is noun. It's bigger in Boro. And birang kap honeycomb, bistil, okay. Sa prefix. We go to sa prefix. Sa means child. Fisa in Garo, in Boro. Satap is, so we find in quite a number of words sa coming as unproductive prefix. Then D and Chi, these are very self-explanatory because D and Chi means water. So we have a number of words and place names and the river names with the prefix D, and even in Garo Hills, a few of them in Garo Hills as well. Then I want to bring up this one. Chinap is a place name for a stream where a stream flows underground, disappears underground. Then O prefix, this is the last one which I'm bringing. This is of Bengali origin because in the beginning when the Bible was translated and Christianity was introduced among the Garos, came to be adopted by the Garos. O negative prefix has been used, such as in the word autonomy only. Autonomy that means irreligious, one who does not obey or does not observe religion, okay, or some other codes of conduct. Then osubida is used only in speech, and it is not, I have not found it in writing. I come to the conclusion. I turn back to the thought with which I started, which is to dig into the past, trying to unearth the secrets of the language. And so the Bodo-speaking people have Bodo group people from tribes of the Bodo group of people. They have they have spread out and settled in various places, and they have not been in contact with each other for a very long period of time. Garo being a monosyllabic like other Tibeto-Burman languages, at times prefixes are used to distinguish one morpheme from another. This is what the function of the unproductive prefixes in Garo. And if one says up, ki, still, only those could be confused with morphemes bearing the same close similarity with them, but having different meanings. Prefixes made it possible for them to have a distinct identity. There are numerous prefixes that can be taken up for study. These are, I have listed some of them. It is a truism to say that the study of affixes throws light on our language, how our vowels and consonants behave when affixes are added. I have not been able to draw, but it has not been possible for me to draw any generalized meaning or function of the prefix ga, and that would go for some other prefixes, except for those with the explicit meaning, such as di, chi, and rong. Thank you so much.
I was mute. Thank you, madam, for your presentation. As suggested by the host, we'll have the discussion at the very end of this session. So we are now going to move to the next talk by Pranamita Rajiung and Dipojyoti Burman from Assam University. And they will be talking about personal pronouns in Deori and Dimasa, a morphophonological study. So I invite the speakers to give their presentation.
Sir, good morning, everyone. So let me share my PPT. Any problem? Wait. Which problem?
You're using two microphones, so it's echoing.
Wait, it's okay now? There's still problem.
Still echoing. Yes.
What to do?
I think you can proceed with the one that you're using with the headphone. It's all right.
Okay. If I talk, it starts echoing. Okay.
Dipojyoti, you please use only one device for now and unmute from the mobile phone in that case.
Okay. Let's go back.
Are you there, Dipojyoti?
Hello.
Yes, we can
Hello?
hear you now. Depository, go
Yeah,
ahead.
yeah.
Okay, sir. Okay, sir. So good morning, everyone. So my topic is on personal pronouns in Deori and Dimasa, a morphophonological study. Introduction. So Deori is also known as Deori, with variation with vowel. Speakers are found in Assam and also in some parts of Arunachal Pradesh, Dimasa. Dimasa speakers are found in Assam and Nagaland states of India. Deori seems to have four social divisions. For example, Dibongia, Tengaponia, Borgoya, Patargonia. It is said that Patargonian is no
Dibajiti,
longer
there is one echoing sound coming in the background. Maybe you can disconnect from your mobile phone. Maybe you just disconnect from your mobile phone the Zoom, and then I think that will be fine.
It's okay.
Yes, yes, it's
Hello.
fine now. Yeah.
So, okay. What happened? Okay. Sorry for interruption. So Deori seems to have four social divisions. For example, Dibungia, Tengaponia, Borgo, and Patargania. It is said that the Patargonian is no longer in existence, and now only the people of Dibungia group speak the Deori language. Is mentioned by Sankhya 2017. Dimasa has four major dialects: Hashao, Hawa, Demra, Dijua. As per Census of India 2012, the Deori speakers were 32,376, and the Dimasa is 1,33,327. These two languages comes under Baric, also known as Bodo-Garo or Bodo-Koj section of Baric, also known as Sal or Bodo-Konmik Jingpo, divisions of Tibeto-Burman language family, mentioned by Schaeffer 1955. So these are the hotspot area of various languages, and I have mentioned Deori and Dimasa written in red. This maybe is taken from the Berlin 2003. So these are some of the typological overview: tonal, monosyllabic verb root, agglutinative, voiceless aspirated occurrence in initial, prominence of aspect, classifier, verb final, non-relative pronoun. In this paper, I didn't use the tonal marker. So the tonal marker, I'll to go. Hello, am I audible? It's okay. Hello.
Yes, yes.
Okay.
Yes, you're audible.
So now first person singular. First person singular in Deori and Dimasa is a monosyllabic word consisting of PC syllabic pattern. In both the languages, it begins with the central low unrounded vowel and ends with the velar nasal consonant such as ang. The nasal final in first person pronoun is one of the typical features of Bodo-Garo languages is shared by Deori and Dimasa, and it corresponds to both of the Proto-Bodo-Garo and Proto-Tibetan Burman first person singular pronoun mentioned by Matisov 2003, also by Jekashin 2005. First person plural. The pluralization process of first person pronoun is not made by affixation, as many other Tibeto-Burman languages, namely Manipuri, Karbi, Rongmai, etc., that do. The first person plural pronoun in Deori and Dimasa is a suppletive form with monosyllabic form. First person plural in Deori is often syllable with diphthong O as nuclei such as Jo, this CVV syllabic pattern, whereas in Dimasa it is closed syllable with velar nasal consonant Nga, as in coda position, that is Sing, in syllabic CVC pattern. The suppletive form of first person plural is one of the typical feature in Bodo-Garo languages as observed by Daniel Kudiwood, 2018. So these are some of the Bodo-Garo personal pronouns. So as Garo, Nakching, Angching in Borozo, Deuri Zo, Dimasazing, Kokborok Ching, Raba Ching, and Bodo-Garo this Ching is mentioned by Wood 2008. The first person personal pronoun in Deuri and Dimasa is illustrated in the following table. So Deuri Ang, singular, plural Zo, Dimasa Ang, in singular, in plural Jing, Jung in Howard dialect. So from the above illustration, in both the languages, the first person singular pronoun has vowel a at the word initial position, and the plural pronoun, the consonant z, occurs in onset position. The velar nasal nga occurs in coda position in both first person and plural in Dimasa, but in Deuri it occurs only in first person singular. Second person singular. In both the languages, second person singular is a monosyllabic. Deuri consisting CVC, syllabic pattern, and in Dimasa it is CVC. Sorry, in Deuri it is CV, and in Dimasa CVC. Second person singular is open syllable in Deuri, whereas in Dimasa it is closed. That is, the velar nasal consonant nga occurs as coda, but in both the languages, second person singular begins with alveolar nasal na, such as no in Deuri and ning in Dimasa. Here, in case of second person singular pronoun tu, it corresponds to both the Proto-Bodo-Garo and Proto-Tibeto-Burman's second person singular personal pronoun, nang, mentioned by Benedict 1972, Metiso 2003, and Jekeshin 2005. Second person plural. In theory, the second person plural is monosyllabic word. Plurality is made by means of vowel alternation, that is, monophthong alternates with diphthong. O becomes O. Like first person plural, the syllabic structure of second person plural is also CVV. Whereas in Dimasa, the second person plural is disyllabic word formed by affixing the plural morpheme she, only in the case of human. So, two second person singular pronoun ni derived from ning. Second person plural in Deuri and Dimasa begins with the alveolar nasal and ends with the vowel. It is worth mentioning here that the formation of second person plural pronoun in Dimasa is almost similar to many of the Tibeto-Burman languages like Manipuri, Angami, Karbi, Tadao, Rongmai, Kokborok, Chorai, Ranglong, etc. But in Deuri, it is suppletive and very distinct from majority of the Tibeto-Burman languages. The second person pronouns in Deuri and Dimasa are summarized below. So in Deuri, singular is no and plural is no, whereas in Dimasa it is ning and plural is nishi. Third person singular. In Deuri and Dimasa, the third person singular pronoun is a monosyllabic word consisting of CV syllabic pattern. Begins with the voice bilabial stop b followed by the low front unrounded vowel a in one and another the mid back rounded vowel o, such as b in Deuri and bo in Dimasa. As in many other Tibeto-Burman languages, Deuri and Dimasa doesn't make gender distinction in pronouns, particularly in third person pronoun, as we find in Indo-European languages like Assamese, Sylheti, Bengali, English, and so on. Third person plural. In Deuri, the third person plural pronoun is made by means of vowel alternation, that is, monophthong a alters with the diphthong o, the same diphthong which is found in first and second person plural in Deuri. In Dimasa, the third person plural is made by suffixing the same plural she which is found in second person singular pronoun. It is also worth mentioning here that the plural morpheme she cannot directly be attached to the third person singular pronoun in Dimasa. Morphophonimically, the high front vowel E of genitive marker E is being deleted when it is followed by the same vowel. As a result, the underlying form Bunishi become Bunshi. So these are illustrated form of third person pronoun in Dimasa. In Deuri, singular is Bo, plural is Bo, in Dimasa Bo, and plural is the bunshi. So now comes to morphophonemic in personal pronoun. So in Dimasa, the velar nasal is being dropped when it is followed by alveolar sound. So rule is given here, and we can see that ang ni becomes ani, that is first person singular genitive. Jing becomes jini, first person plural genitive. Ning becomes nini, and so on. But in Deuri it retains, such as angna, which means first person plus its objective mark with the objective marker na. Gliding and gemination. In production of vowel sequence, especially from high to low, there is a tendency for inserting glide. Thus, in theory, the wa or ya sometimes occurs in the nominative marker with the nominative marker a. So here is the rule, and here one of the example is given. The third person plural pronoun bo, when it occurs with the nominative marker a, it's become boa. It is also worth mentioning here that in Deuri, when alveolar sound precedes the nominative marker a, final consonant, it geminates. So John a becomes Jonna, and Peter a becomes Peter a becomes Peter a. So these are the name of the persons, John and Peter, and how it changes with the environments. So assimilation. In Dimasa, velar nasal becomes alveolar nasal when it is followed by the alveolar consonant. It is also observed that in Dimasa, the disyllabic dative case thane occurs only with the monosyllabic personal pronoun, whereas the short ne can occur with all. So here the assimilation of velar nasal ang of a changes to just an. Antane, ning thane becomes nintane. And also we can see that a thane only occurs, uh, cannot be occurs with the uh, other common noun, proper noun, or monosyllabic personal pronouns. It occurs only with uh, monosyllabic personal pronouns like anne or nine, but it cannot occur with nishithane, something like that. So vowel harmony. So here we can see that boni becomes buni, bo boningshi becomes bonishi, and finally it's become bunshi. So here I've given some slight uh, extra information from Dundas 1908. Bonishi, he also given the data of Bunishi and Bonshi. But it's Bonishi is now it's moribund. We don't use Bonishi, only we use Bunshi. In our dialect of Dimasa, vowel harmony is also found frequently in case of first person and second person too. So Jungni becomes Jini, Nungni becomes Nini, Nungshi becomes Nishi. Dimasa exhibits. So here, Dimasa exhibits regressive vowel harmony, whereby the vowel of the first person syllabic harmonized vowel of second syllable in terms of tongue height. In other words, the vowels of personal pronoun harmonize with the vowel genitive morpheme and plural morpheme. Vowel harmony doesn't apply to first person pronoun as it begins with vowel a. So comes to syntax. The pronouns function as subject argument or subject complement. It is observed that the normative form of pronouns is optional in theory, as you can see in 1 and 2, where in Dimasa it is unmarked. It is mentioned in 3 and 4. So in quick showing that 1 and 2 in theory, we can see that bowa, uh, Pokani, Chong, Kori, which means they are coming with them. So here you can see that bow is marked with the nominative marker. And number 2 point, we can see that Deuri Ang Bana Hatho Lok Nimamunde. So it means that I meet him in the market. Here is nominative marker is Manal. So in Deuri it is optional. In Dimasa, we don't have nominative marker. So ang boke hataya gronba, which means I met him in the market. And number 4 is so we can see that we don't have the nominative marker. Like many other Tibeto-Burman language, both Deori and Dimasa doesn't have distinct oblique forms of personal pronouns. However, the oblique forms of personal pronouns are formed by postposing case marker to the corresponding personal pronoun as illustrated in the following examples. So we can see that oblique forms of Deori and Dimasa. So na and ka. These na and ka are the object marker. And here we can see that the dative marker occurs. So Dipur me no ang namai kitigi thijung leha. So which means tomorrow you bring pineapple for me. And in Dimasa dakna ning athene laimori labuhiri, which means tomorrow you bring pineapple for me. So here we comes to conclusion. So in it is a presence of nominative marker is found in Deori, where it is absent in Dimasa. Occurrence of glide is found in Deori with nominative marker a when it is preceded by the high vowels of personal pronoun. In Deori, all the personal pronouns are suppletive, but in Dimasa, only the first person plural pronoun is suppletive. The pluralization process of second and third person pronoun is done by affixation in Dimasa. In Dimasa, the velar nasal is being dropped when it is followed by alveolar nasal. In Deori, it retains. In Dimasa, velar nasal becomes alveolar nasal when it is followed by alveolar consonant. The vowel of personal pronouns in Dimasa harmonize with the vowel of genitive morpheme and plural morpheme. Vowel harmony doesn't apply to the first person pronoun as it begins with the vowel. It is observed that the personal pronouns rarely manifest major morphophonemic changes in Deori, whereas the personal pronouns in Dimasa undergo through considerable morphophonemic processes. So these all the references. And thank you for listening. That's all.
Thank you, Deposity, for your presentation and for completing it on time. So according to the latest schedule, next we have Pranjit Deori, who will be speaking on comparative study of Hazuali and Datiali Tiwa. So I invite the speaker to give the presentation.
Hajuali and ठीक हुआ सर थोड़ा नर्वस रहता है पता नहीं sorry
Thank you, sir. Good morning, everyone. The topic of my today's paper is a comparative study of Hajo-Ali and Datiali Skiva. So, first of all, I would like to speak something about the Tiwa language. The Tiwa is also known as Lalo, which belongs to the Bodo-Garo group of the Tibeto-Burman subgroup of the Sino-Tibetan language family. Tiwa is mostly spoken in Nagaon, Karbi Anglong, Morrigaon, Kamrup, and Dhemaji district of Assam, and also in Ribhoi district of Meghalaya. Tiwas are mainly divided into two groups, that is Hills Tiwa and Plains Tiwa. Hills are known as Hajo-Ali and plains are known as Datiali. Hajo-Ali speakers are found in West Karbi Anglong and Karbi Anglong, and Datiali speakers are found in Nagaon, Morrigaon, Kamrup, and Dhemaji of Assam. According to 2011 census report of Assam, the total population of Tiwa was 371,000, out of which only 31,421 can speak the language. This is the Tibeto language family, which is based on Berling's 2003. And Tiwa, according to his classification, Tiwa has a more closer with the Komporok language. This is the map of Assam where Tiwa people are located. The main objective of my paper is to present the variation that exists among the different groups of the same community. To look into the retention of the language of the community and to observe how neighboring socio-cultural factors affect and influence the Tiwa language and community. Socio-linguistics variation. The Tiwa people are mostly based on agriculture, although the Hawajawali peoples are mainly based on agriculture than the Datialis. Nowadays, due to the modern tech or the advanced side, Datialis are found in mostly in different sectors, like in every sector. Presently, in APSA also Datialis are found to be cracked in APSA exams. Religions. In origin, Tiwa people are mainly enemies, but due to the change of time, the people at present in Datialis, the mainly people are identity is known as Poi. But Datialis don't have this Pinung concept, but they have 12 kings, which means 12 kingdoms, where the head of the Pinung is known as the Loro, and the Pinung, where in Datialis, the kings are the main, where the Pinungs are like the Pinungs only. The Pinungs are Amsai Valley, Lumphoi Valley, Amni Valley, Marjong Valley, Rongkhoi Valley, Magro Valley, Mayong Valley. These are the main 7 Pinungs which are located in the West Karbi Anglong sites. The clan which known as the clans, which is known as Phoi in this community. Phoi takes a very active role in the society. There are different Phois in these communities. These are the clans which are present in Haji Alis and Dati Alis. Thank you. Festivals and Hajoalis that Hajoali celebrates are Khel Jawa, Panthai Langa, Munari Kanti, Wanswas, Sogra, Langkon, etc. Datiali celebrates Pisu, Borot, Sogra, Pokot Kewa, Rati Kewa, Kalikathan Puja, etc. Whereas we see difference between in these festivals also. Whereas festivals of Hajawali celebrates more festivals pujas in which pujas are also related to animism and the festivals which are coming from the ancient days. But Datialis have been shifted to the uh, dominating society, which only the festivals that they celebrate are now Sogra and Borot. But other than this, they don't celebrate which are related to our Tiva communities. The marriage systems in Tiva communities, there are different types of marriage systems that are found in both hills Tiva are found in hills Tiva and plains Tiva. Where in hills, most of the Gobhia, which we Gobhia Rakhabia is only popular, but slowly due to change of time, these are changes to where we used to like the Juronbia, Borbia like this, where the uh, and in plains Tiva, all these different types of marriages are found. So when we talk about the phonological variation, deletion is process of removal. We find a lot of deletions in these two dialects. The deletion is process of removal accent segment from the phonological sequence of the language. When we find and the data, when we see the data, it is seen that the syllable deletion is regular in both the dialects, where the kung is Hajawali. In Hajawali they used to say kung, where in Datialis they used to say kungat, where the art is deleted, which means nose. In Haso also, here so is deleted in Datiali. So like that only, the deletion are only found in both the dialects. So alternation of content on consonants. From the data, it can be seen that the occurrence replacement of consonants with other consonant in words of different grammatical categories. The replacements are pa changes to ba and sa changes to cha, ka changes to ga, ta changes to the, ya changes to la, and tha changes to the, ja changes to cha are observed. Whereas it is found that where the hills Tiva plains cannot pronounce as a ta. Instead of ta, they used to say the. Instead of pa, they used to say ba. Example, if someone's call me by my name also, they never call me by Pranji. They it becomes Branji. Or if someone's uh, say my name also, instead of P, they say B only in Hills Tiva. So, but in that case, the tier lists are not found like this. In like that, only Tolong becomes Dolong, where it's supposed it's like the also it likes the borrowing rate words, but the pronunciations becomes different. So vowel alternations. Phoneme alternation of the vowels as seen in INU, INU, ENI, E are observed between the two dialects, where Abi becomes Abu, which is grandmother, Koga becomes Kogo, Mesa becomes Misi, Kara becomes Karo, Punga becomes Puno. Morphological variations. It has been observed from the data that in compounding, some of the data lists would have been borrowed from Assamese language and nativized as in Guhali to Kuali, Kaushik to Bijuli, Bijuli to Pijuli, enlightening Grahan in same as Assamese. When we see both the data, it has been observed that most of the data list data are borrowed from the Assamese language, as if in the lunar eclipse, when we say Thonpai Peremolo, which means the lunar moons, where the frog moon swallowed the frog, frog swallowed the moon. But in plains Tiva, we never say like this, like simply we say Jonai Grohan, or we don't have the Bijuli title. In Assamese lightning, we used to say Bijuli, but in Hills Tiva, we don't say like that, that Nokhapila, which means rain slide. Like that only in Yasi Magra, where we used to say Yasi Baro, which means Baro means big, but in Hills Tiva, we never say Yasi Baro, we say Yasi Magra, which means Magra means female head. So there's a lot of difference between morphological variation are found in both the language. In same both the dialects, the clippings. It has been uh, from the data, it has been observed that the clippings are prominent in both the dialects. So Hajowali, the art is deleted, where in Haso, where in Ha, so is deleted. Same in Yaskur, and in Datiali it is Yasi, but and in Tu Magra, where Magra is deleted from the hand. When we see among the Hajwal in Datialis data, the most of the data from the Datiali sites are found to be borrowed from the Assamese language, since it's the dominated language of Assam. So the main borrowing language is from Assamese only, like the Kai Kojal, which means um, brother and sister, elder brother and brothers. So here instead of Kojal, they never say in Datialis, they never say Kojal. They used to say Bhai only. Where in Pagan, they used to say Bhotija. Where in Assamese also it is Bhotija. Pareva means eggs, where they used to say Kudar, where we used to say Kuthar in Assamese. So complete lexical variation. Uh, there, although it may be the same language family, there are a lot of more complete lexical variation are found from the both the dialects. As is in Khora to Sangal, that's the first. Solong to Sajilo is repeatedly. Reba to Mon Thaga means squarely. Mone Thaga. That one is also from. It can be said that borrowed word from the Assamese language like Mone Thaga. That Kreba, it's in Hajowal is Liri in lately. So like this only. In lexical similarities, there are also lexical similarities since it's the same language family, same language and the same language. There are there are a lot of lexical items. Yeah. Contents of multilingual of device speakers. most of the Tiwa community people are multilingual, but Hajoali are more multilingual than the Datialis. Since because most of the Hajoalis Tiwas, they are surrounded by the Khasis. They are surrounded by the Khasis and the Nepali speakers community. So they know Khasi, Nepali, Karbis, and etc. But Datiali speakers, they don't know their most of the speakers are since they are shifted to Assamese, so they know only a little bit of Tiwa and Hindi also they may know Hindi, English like this only. But Hajoalis know they are more multilingual than Datialis. Recent trends. In recent times, Tiwa Matholna Tekra, with the collaboration of Tiwa Autonomous Council, has taken various steps for retaining this language. Whereas in Tiwa Matholna Tekra has also appointed Tiwa language teacher in Tiwa dominated areas. Recently, on 11/4/2021, TMT Tiwa Matholna Tekra has officially launched Tiwa website, that is tiwamatholnatekra.org, where in this community I was also present, where I have this website to create this website. In this website, it will be a trilingual where the Tiwa, Assamese, and English language will be available. So, when we talk about the vitality of the language as per UNESCO report, the Hajoali can be called as a vulnerable, whereas the Datialis are critically endangered. So language use, the Hajoalis domains of use, there are, and the Datialis domains of use. When we see among the both the datas, most of the in most of the Hajoalis they use Tiwa language only, but Datialis they don't use this their language in all the places, but only in few places. What can since this language is an endangered language, so the proper language revitalization is a very important. For that, proper documentation is very necessary steps to make this language written, because documentation helps to keep this language for future purpose, and it can take a various aspects like cultural rituals, festivals, language, folk song, dance, etc. Adopting a master apprentice programs in Datialis is a very important matter. Awareness for the community people is very important. Community members along with the institution or the NGOs can come with the different steps for retaining this language and culture. Government along with the Autonomous Council can introduce different programs or workshops through which the new generation can get to know it. The government can appoint Tiwa language a subject and appoint language teacher till primary level in Tiwa dominated areas. The literary group like Tiwa Matholna Tekra or Tiwa Saita Kasava can take some necessary step for publication of books and magazines. Workshops related to cultural activities like folk song, dance, etc. can be conducted in different Tiwa villages. Conclusions. From this, I come to conclusion. Tiwa people are also known as Lalons. Tiwa is one of the Tibeto-Burman language family, language of the Northeast India. Tiwa people are found in the hills and plains area. Hills are known as Hajoali and plains are known as Datiali. They are found in Nagaon, Morigaon, Karbi Anglong, Dhemaji, Kamrup, Assam, and in Ripoh district of Meghalaya. Tiwa is the SOV word order language. Most of the festivals of both the groups are different. Datialis clans and surnames are different from Hajoalis clans, and surname is same. And the Hajoalis clans and surname is same. The replacement of consonant pa, ba, sa to cha, ka to ga, sa to da, ya to la, ta to da, and cha to cha are observed between the two dialects. Phonemic alternation of the vowels as in e, u, to o, e are observed between two the dialects. The Datialis, most of the compound words are observed from the Assamese language. Front clipping are prominent in both the dialects. Complete lexical variation and similar lexical are also found in these two dialects. These are my reference. Thank you.
Thank you, Ranjit, for your presentation. Okay, so now we have around 20 minutes for discussion. I feel bad that we cannot applause for the speakers in this mode, but thanks to all the speakers for their presentations. They were all great, and I'm really excited to see all the presentations Now I think it will be more convenient to open one paper at a time for discussion so that the speaker can show the slides if necessary. So I would like to open first the plenary speaker's paper, Madam Caroline's paper. So if there is any comments, questions, please you can address.
Krishna, you can see in the chat box, Changte ma'am has given a comment on the numerals to compare.
Yes, yes, I saw those. Is Madam still here?
I'm here.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes.
Changte Madam, do you still have Changte Madam here? She could raise the
What
points.
is the question, please? Could you please read it out?
So there is a comment from Changte Madam. So she had in Proto-Sino-Tibetan Burman, we have some protoforms for the numerals. And one of them that you have mentioned. So looking at her comments, it appears that this is found across Tibeto-Burman. So should be a very old prefix.
Excuse me, I have to shift my laptop again.
Sure.
I have to shift my laptop again, and because there's so much disturbance here. So
Yes.
voices from other sources. Yes, in fact, I have thought about the Proto-Tibeto-Burman and Bodo-Garo also. I've thought about that, but I did not have any materials. I did not have any access to it. So I'm just kept wondering. I'm just kept wondering, and like I could not come into any conclusion. So could you please share the information of Proto-Tibeto-Burman numeral system? Is there any way that I can access it?
Yes, I am trying to copy paste her comment.
Yes, Manali, go ahead.
Yeah, I will copy paste for her to see in the screen.
Okay.
Maybe chat box may not be that visible. Yeah, so I'm just trying to do it.
Yeah, it's tiny there.
This was her comment. Yeah, Caroline ma'am, this is her comment that she has given as a feedback.
So these are very old prefixes which go back to Proto-Sino-Tibetan states.
I think she got disconnected. Ma'am Caroline got disconnected. So until she joins, I just want to ask one question to Pranjit. I just want to know, many years ago, UV Joseph started with this Tiwa subject class for, I think, till Clavin School in Umshwai. What is the update, and is it still functional?
Yes, ma'am. Uh, I, what Father Joseph, UV Joseph has started, that one still is it's going on, but in hills area, Hajwali, that one is in hills area, in Umswa area. But
Okay.
that one we cannot find that that step in plains area, which is very important in Datialis area only. So I think that one, the which UV Joseph has started in hills area, that one also it must be started in plains area, which will would have help for this community only, plains area people. But I think what you TMT have started, but they start, it's not so regular. It's irregular. For that reason, it's not helping for them, madam.
Okay. 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 Thank you.
Okay, Krishna, can I ask a
Yes,
question?
go ahead, please.
Okay, thank you. I want to ask one question from this Caroline, Madam Caroline. You mentioned about this tongue in the language. So what I want to ask is this: to live, that the tongue is used, or is it they have different between this to live or live? Is it they have a different meaning? And here my question is, did in infinitive marker or infinitive clause, I mean, is it this tongue is used when I need to sleep, or I need to go, home, or this, is it the tongue is used in the infinitive clause? There is one question. And another question is to this Karib Gapsa, that I want to ask. Yes, I know we have a different perspective and different finding. Yes, I respect your finding, but just I want to share my observation. Yes, you may use in different theory, but according to me, your this assimilation process, you mentioned about assimilation process, this nga is lost when it clubbed together with another meaning. So according to me, it's look like apocope, because the final song nga is lost. Like the assimilation means, like in English, we can say legal become illegal because of this assimilation, or become moral become immoral, or responsible become irresponsible. So yeah, I respect your findings, but you may look at it in different theory or different perspective, but I'm just sharing my thoughts. So thank you.
Okay, okay, okay. I'll look. Thank you for suggestion.
Okay. Was the question for Caroline, madam?
Can I repeat again?
Yes, the question is for Caroline, madam, right?
Okay, yes, for Madam
Yes,
Caroline.
she's with us right now. Can you please repeat?
Okay, I mean the simple this he mentioned about tongue, that to live or to revive, so that he used tongue. So that is it there is different meaning in to live, or when we drop this preposition to live, then is it they have a different meaning, or the tongue is used in the infinitive clause when I need to sleep or I need to go home. So this tongue is used in the infinitive clause. So that's what I want to look at. Okay, thank you.
Okay. So, Madam Caroline, would you like to address the comment question?
Okay, actually, I should have asked. So, tongue means to live only. Nothing. It has nothing to do with sleep. With sleep, nothing to do with sleep only. Tanga means to live, to be alive. That's all.
Okay, that means my this live, is it they have only is it live they can have a meaning? Is it they can carry their own meaning, live or to live? Is it there is any different meaning in the language? Or that tongue is used in the infinitive clause, like I need to revive, or I need to leave, or you can say that that meaning also, that the tongue is used in the infinitive clause, I mean.
So this is what I have said, say, for instance, we can get it in matanga. Otherwise, a tongue is always like, and tongue is used as in, it is a morpheme, verb morpheme, and tongue means to live, and tangen means to, it will live, and tangjok means it is alive, it has come to life again. Tangcha means to rise again. like that. But it has nothing to do with sleep. And the phrases that you suggest, I think they are not associated with tongue. We cannot use tongue in that way.
Okay, like I need to, like when I say I need to leave, is it tongue is not occurring?
Oh, okay. I
Is
get it.
Is it possible? I mean, we can use
Anga
in the
thangna.
different verb. Yeah, not
Yeah.
only that leave or but we can leave, go also, sleep
Yeah.
also. Yeah, we can
No,
look at with different verb.
Yeah. See, anga thangna nangen. I have to live. Anga thangna nangen. Thangna means to live. To live.
Okay. Okay.
Thangna nangen. And then also we can use it as thangani. Thangani means like it becomes an abstract noun. The state of being alive. Thangani nigaman. We think of thangani means we think of survival. Thangani. Thangani is survival. So thang can be combined with other suffixes like this. Thangna, that is dative, and thangani will be the abstract. We derive abstract nouns from gni. We add gni and then with thangani, survival, like that. So there could be other combinations, but at present I cannot remember. But it is possible to combine it with other other suffixes to form new words. Yes.
Okay, thank you, madam. Thank you, madam. Okay, thank you, Krishna. Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you for your question. So we still have a lot of time, about 15 minutes. Oh, sorry, 8 minutes.
I just wanted to, I want to answer to Ma'am Caroline's question in the notes that if my is a numeral classifier or not, it is a classifier. It is a generic numeral classifier. We can prefix it with any other entities also. So it is there with the numerals as well as with the other nouns. And the numerals can also occur alone. Like we can say shi, gni, gatam, bri instead of saying mashi, magni, maktam, mabri. That's optional.
I like to add to that, saying that we also use masa magni magatam means 1, 2, 3 means like if we count, say for instance, if we count Tamil means betel nuts. If we count masa magni magatam, like that, and so many others. Mangsa mangani means animals. Okay, saksa sakani sakatam, that is sak refers to human beings, like that. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you. Any more questions, comments?
Are you done with your meeting?
No, I'm not done yet.
All right. If now, I have a quick comment for Madam. So some of the prefixes have been studied that you have mentioned. For example, the go prefix has been extensively studied in Bodo-Garo languages. For example, Linda Conard, her MA dissertation was on the go prefix in Bodo-Garo languages. So that is something that you may look at for that particular prefix. And for diversity, I think I spotted a typo in one of your tables of the pronouns. The first person plural pronoun that you have mentioned.
Yes, sir.
You mentioned it as zo, the suppletive forms.
Okay, of Deuri.
Boro.
Boro, yes, sir. I have also checked. That is mentioned by Wood, Daniel Wood. Otherwise, I know that it's Joe, Jung.
Yes. So I was wondering, is that a typo or
No,
I don't know if somebody actually uses that form.
yes, sir. Yes, sir. But because of Daniel Kudi, he has
Okay,
mentioned.
okay.
That's why I have.
Yeah.
Because of, yes, sir.
Sorry, can I speak?
Yes, yes, madam, please.
So I was looking at the comparative the pronouns in the paper presented by Karigapsa, I think. Is it Karigapsa or somebody? I
Yes,
think
ma'am.
so. Therefore, in that I've been looking, and so for a first person singular number, it's anga. But I have been thinking, and in my thoughts now, I'm coming to the conclusion that in anga, the last vowel I think it's a nominated case marker. I think it is nominated case marker. Because I think everywhere you'll find ang only, everywhere in combinations. Angni means my, angko means me, that is objective. Okay, so
Yes,
they
ma'am.
are angoni, angna, angoni. So all of these combinations only ang. So therefore, if you look at the morphemes, identification morphemes, if you consult NIDA, I think it is only ang. I think for
Yes.
I, but we have been taking for ages. We have been taking anga as the first personal pronoun, but I think it is ang only.
Yes, ma'am. In
And
my
then we also, like, more or less, we think that in nominative case we do not take any suffixes, but in phrases and in complex sentences, I find that without the a or ra or a, and we cannot make sense without adding the suffix a or ra. We cannot make sense out of a thing, because the sentences will become all jumbled up and we will not be able to make any sense out of it. So those things are quite necessary in at least in complex sentences. Otherwise, in simple sentences, we do not need any nominative case marker, but in complex sentences, and we need it. That is for sure. And I think I'll write a paper on that also, because we need some kind of we need to go forward in studying the cases in Garo also as well. Thank you so much.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. In my when I have a little bit study on Bodo-Garo, I found in Deuri, Boro, and Garo, this nominative markers are optional. Sometimes they occur.
Yes, they are.
But in Dimasa, Kokborok, and Tiwa, we don't have that nominative marker. So I have to check all those things. Thank you.
Yes, you're quite right. It's optional. And many of the things, just now I cannot remember. I can cite many examples in which the case markers are optional. And say, for instance, it is felt it's necessary for objectives, Now, but I say that it is not only in certain cases is required. Otherwise, it's optional.
Yes.
Okay. Even the objective case too is optional.
Yes, that's true.
Okay,
yes.
okay. Good to know. Thank you, ma'am.
All right. Thank you all for your participation in this session. So we are at the end of the session. Before I close the session, let me announce next session will start from 2 p.m. on language, society, and culture. So I request everyone to join us again at 2 p.m. Okay, so until then, goodbye and see you again. Thank you. Thank you all.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you, everybody.